I've heard a lot of talk about, and a lot of really crazy argument about who is Spider-Man in the now Insomniac video game universe. And honestly, I gotta say, I watched the videos. I have an Xbox, so I unfortunately cannot play the game. It's killing me, really. It really is. Because I'm such a huge Spider-Man fan. I grew up, my first iteration into Marvel and basically superhero literature was Batman and Spider-Man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It is the fucking truth. I loved Spider-Man. I loved Batman. Because Batman was a detective genre and I loved mysteries and solving crime genres. Spider-Man was a typical guy, an average guy. He was a definitive look into what is life. A normal teenager, just be a normal kid, going to school, having a job, being a student, and having to deal with it being a superhero. I always loved that about Spider-Man, but there was always something about Spider-Man that was very different that I could not relate, and that was him being a foster kid. He had Aunt May and Uncle Ben as foster parents. His Uncle Ben was like his father. Very much a father figure, very much a father. His Aunt May was very much a mother. Even though they were aunts and uncles, they were his mother and father. However, I did not grow up with the way. I grew up with two loving parents. However, I grew up with a lot of father issues. I grew up with a lot of daddy issues. Aggressive fights with my dad. It was really bad. So, me growing up that way, and me growing up with families that had different political views, my family was very different than Peter. Now, if you look at Batman, has a very corrupt family. He grows up realizing his father was corrupt. His father had dirty things. His dad was not all that great. If you think about it, if you ever watch The Batman, if you ever watch the Telltale games, play them, they're really good. My point being, there was only one really great Spider-Man that I loved, and that was Miles Morales. Now, I'm white. Miles Morales is African Latino. Yeah, African Latino, African Cuban. I honestly could give less of a crap if someone is a different race. Miles Morales has father issues, a father that doesn't understand him, that is really hard on him, parents that are hard on him, a mother that is loving and caring, a father that is a police officer, and very, very secure on his son, very tight on him, very rough. That was my dad. If anyone can believe that. Except he was not a police officer. Although there were times where I felt it was. And I was... His uncle, as I'm gonna get to there, worked with Kingpin. If you ever pay attention to the games, if you ever watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, not across, Into the Spider-Verse, if you ever watch or read the comics, he does actually work for Kingpin. He is one of the people that works for Kingpin. He was corrupt and had his own political views. He had his own stand on the world. His uncle was very much strongly against his own father, against his brother. You know, Miles' father. That's what I mean. My point is that that's why I loved Miles. because I grew up, and his mother was very loving and caring and understood. But even though she also was someone who really wanted him to be upped into college, go to college, be great at classes, go to school, even though he had his issues, he had a mom that was very much on his ass about going to college and stuff like that. I was not. I grew up with families that graduated college, went to school, and I wasn't. I flunked out, I dropped out, and I'm not gonna lie, it was very rough, because I felt like some of my family were hard on my ass about it. I did. Even my cousin, some of it. I'm sorry, it was just very hard. But yeah, political views. I mean, think about it. That's why I loved Miles. If you think about it, Miles is very much the representation of kids. No matter if he's black or African Latino. The point being, he represents kids who have parents, who have loving parents, who have parents. I mean, now kids these days, thanks to Trump and the political and Joe Biden, there's so much wound up of families crossing knives at each other's backs. Knives Out. So if you ever watched the movie, seen the Netflix movie, A Knives Out Mystery, Glass Onion, my point is, my family, like Miles, had different opinion and views. Political and educational views, or growth, or whatever you want to call it. So, say what you want about Spider-Man being Peter Parker, Peter B. Parker. Now, I love Tom Holland. He was a great Spider-Man. I don't care what you guys say. I loved him as Spider-Man. I thought he was a great iteration. But I do love Miles Morales more. I relate to him more as a character, not a race. I don't care what race he is. He has things that I can relate. I went to school. I had loving parents. I had parents that fought. I had uncles that had different political views. I had uncles that I felt just, I did not have a very easy family. But they did love me. And I love them. As much as a pain in the ass they are. But I love them. Because they're family, and that's what Miles Morales represents. He is Spider-Man. Thank you for listening. Corey Adrian signing off.